Good evening, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to another Monday evening community race. We have four fantastic runners here showcasing their skills for us. My name's Fatasia. I'm joined tonight on the mic by Dijon Ketchup. How are we doing tonight, Ketchup?
I am doing okay. And looks like we've got a Sid.
Yeah, we have a Sid. This is the title of this particular flag set is Engineering Heroic Solutions. Um, it's a fantastic engineering marvel. The flag set is really just everything Sid centric. Liberate Baron Castle, open the Troya Treasury with the Earth Crystal, destroy the Super Cannon, and then have Coco forge Legend Sword. Completing all the objectives will reward us with the crystal. Some other things to note throughout this particular flag set. It's T Wildish, so we're going to have a lots of gear that is going to be out there and available. We start with the Sid, which is absolutely fantastic. We all love to see our resident engineer just getting things rolling. Um, Other things to note, we have J abilities turned on, which seems fine. We have the life glitch, Sylph, and back row glitches. We have basic and dwarf kits, no adamants, and of course split words. So all things said, pretty straightforward seed from start to finish. With a Sid start, with an extra Sid flair here.
Sid's a pretty good hero. You know, he can be he can be a lot of things. He can be powerful. He can be an anchor even at higher levels. Which given it's a hero seed, he's gotta get levels whether you want it or not, and he's gotta be your anchor whether you want him or not.
Yeah, Sid is always one of those interesting characters where early game he's fantastic because he starts at level 20, as opposed to most of your other characters that start at level 10. And he gains a ton of health. He and Yang just really can pack on the pounds when it comes to how much HP they totally have. But he does remain pretty slow, even as you get him up into the level 40s and 50s area, which makes him traditionally a pretty decent anchor. Since he's our hero, he's going to be our anchor regardless, one way or the other. We cannot dismiss him. So it's absolutely fantastic that he will always have a use in some capacity in this seed, whether we want him to or not.
Yeah, finding a curse string would be real good in this seed. Um,
Well, and we are off. Shout out to our featured runners. Meanwhile, Cubs Rule, Rybon, Possumorpheus, Rex Banner. We have a Porum to start off with. And how do you like that? Our Legend Sword, one half of our Forge the Sword puzzle, already in hand.
and coming into Baron, you're gonna have to fight through the dolls.
Well, and that's not a bad spot for the dolls because that's normally the Baigen
Yeah.
spot, which, you know, add up all the HP pool together for Baigen and his arms, and it's a higher HP pool, but then you split it 6 ways amongst the dolls. If you have any character who has something that you could sweep through the party with, generally you can get started pretty quickly. We have two party members that are going right in and checking what's going on in Troya. We do have a free key item that's available. Possum is showing us what exactly is going on in Castle Eblin. Meanwhile, Rex is taking another path.
Yeah, we've got everybody going in various directions. Edward had the pan, not, required as of yet, but, we still are going to need the Earth Crystal, the Baron Key, the Tower Key, the Adamant, and any key items that lead towards that. So, the pan could have up to 3 of those.
Yeah, I love an early pan. It can make some decisions as to what you decide to route early on, to be perfectly honest with you. Some runners like to opt, if you see an early pan, try to dodge Fabul early, for example, so you can try to route all three things together. It doesn't always work. Um, Meanwhile, over here, Rex Banner is at the evil wall, putting Dwarfax to good use. Did something interesting. Porum has a power staff. Now, you can't use the power staff as an item, but if you balk a character with the power staff, you could zerk them. And that's exactly what Rex Banner ended up doing. So his Sid was just rolling.
And Rex is rewarded with an Edward who did nothing during that fight, but it's fine. He's level what 5-1? I forget what he starts at.
He starts at level 5. He's not a completely useless bard. He does take a little bit to get activated. The spoon flag is on, so if we happen to find a spoon, then he becomes much nicer to have. There was an Artemis bow, as Sheep Launcher, our wonderful tracker, pointed out. Thank you. I'm turned around, Sheep. Thank you so much for keeping track of that. An Artie bow, that's a fantastic piece of equipment for either Edward or Sid, if you want me to be honest with you.
Rex just found a dancing dagger in the Antlion Cave. That's a good early level Edward weapon.
Oh, absolutely. With T Wildish on, it's really interesting to see, all the treasure chests that can be opened right now. There's a Stardust Rod that Possum Morpheus ended up finding, so just need someone to wield that, and that'll take care of a lot of things early as well.
Sheep Launcher pointing out there was a Karate Gi in Eblin as well.
The one thing I want to know is, why can't the game be this generous when I'm trying to raise seeds? Going about, this has been a fantastic start with some of this gear early on.
Look, the curses might be later.
All right, so Rex is going to be the first one to show us Antlion, and it's
those are
it's our sisters.
The Magus sisters, my behated.
And Rex doing something very interesting. You'll notice that he started off with just a bow equipped on Sid, and then switched to the Dwarfax. Dwarfax is his best piece of equipment right now. However, Dwarfax also has -5 agility on it. So if you start a fight with lower agility, it can slow characters down, but especially in the early game, it can do some weird things. Agility on your hero in Final Fantasy IV is best akin to black magic, in that there's lots of complicated rules on how it works, especially with the hero and how they interact with the speed of your enemy characters. And it changes early on in the game as well.
Yeah, rewarded with a glass hat. It's not a key item, not really what you want out of that, but I mean, glass hats are pretty good.
I'll take a glass hat. They're fantastic when it comes to physical defense, which they don't offer anything else in stats other than fantastic physical defense, which is kind of interesting because the hat slot in Final Fantasy IV can do some different things depending on what you have. You have ribbons, so there's some opportunity cost there. There's a lot of plus strength gear in terms of headbands and bandanas, so you don't necessarily want them on your physical fighters, but sometimes putting it on a Cecil and just letting him cover the entire party is a fantastic plan.
Tubbs is at the Magus Sisters, and Possum is taking on that evil wall. And I think I saw a Rybon near there. Yeah, it looks like he's heavy.
Yep, despite all the different changes that are different routing that our runners did to start the race, eventually everything is kind of settling into a pattern. They check each other's steps. It's just a matter of preference in terms of where they start. Otherwise, there's very little to do out of your first couple checks, and then where do you go from there?
We're seeing Rybon and Possum heading into Antlion now. Also, it's kind of funny that uh, Eddie is behind the evil wall because um, in certain places that evil wall can be randomized to, um, Eddie kind of breaks it. He can hide, and if your entire party is dead, uh, other than him, yeah, the wall will just attack itself. Up to a certain point.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a while since I've done that strat, but eventually Eddie has to peek out and like hit him once, correct, in order to get the win.
Um, my understanding of how this game works, which um should never be taken as fact because uh, I often confuse things, but I think someone in the party just has to hit. Oh, okay. Ribbon Quest is telling us that what I'm thinking of is just Golbez, where someone has to hit in order to trigger the script.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, everyone in chat, for answering that for us. Um, Interesting. I just saw Cubs Rule. He's checking some shops. Sold quite a bit of gear in order to make sure that his Sid could purchase an Earth Hammer. Now, that Earth Hammer is a fantastic piece of Sid gear, plus 10 strength. Also has the ability, we mentioned earlier, having something that you can sweep through large numbers of enemies, like the Evil Dolls.
Mhm.
It casts Quake. Not necessarily a very powerful Quake, but it still casts Quake.
Yeah, Quake on demand. Possum is facing off against Odin, while Rybon is up against DKC.
The Dark Knight Cecil is invading Fabul. We never saw this coming.
And Dr. Dialogue is behind Odin in the second Baronin slot.
Okay, so and a Twin Harp there. Twin Harp is, I'm going to say, a very divisive key item for the community. As a general rule, I think most community members love it because we have a special little treat for folks because we like to randomize things. We randomize the song there as well. However, a lot of runners really dislike the Twin Harp spot because it is a long time commitment in terms of cutscene needed to get through there. And it's a long time commitment that they just don't like to do in a speed run. So interesting to see.
We call those people cowards.
In the meantime, Possum Orpheus does find the Earth Crystal. So, hey, we're at 10 minutes with the Earth Crystal. Do you think we might get a treasury check?
Yeah. We'll see.
I mean, it's an objective, so we have to open it. Whether or not we're going to get anyone opening the treasure chest is another thing.
I mean, early game, bunch more chests, a lot more loot. I don't know if or when the sound is gonna play, so I'm just talking.
Rate that treasury!
Rate that treasury!
Earth Hammer.
Earth Hammer. Hey, I mean, another Artie Bow, Power Shirt.
Oh.
That was a decent treasury, all things said. I'm not gonna lie.
But yeah, you gotta feel bad for, I think it was Cubs who sold all that stuff just to buy the Earth Hammer.
Yeah, so he's gonna get an Earth Hammer and a Power Shirt and lots of other stuff. Honestly, that's like if you get that particular treasury, because you got something for everyone. You got a Stardust Rod for your Black Magic users. I saw a Life Staff in there for your White Magic users. There's an Artie Bow. There's something for just about every Zerker in there.
There's a
Um,
siren.
yeah, Siren. Like that's about as good of a treasury as you can
Also,
have. 10 of 10.
Masamoon. There's a Masamoon and a full moon, so if you see an edge, you got your back row and a weapon.
Yeah, that entire sequence of events with the treasury is I'm done looting for this seed out of 10. In the meantime, Rybon is going to be the first one up Mount Ordeals to show us who this boss is.
Awesome. Is that actually at the exact same time? Because he didn't save.
No saving. Okay, we have a free fight here with some guards.
Yep. Officer Soldier. Not what you want to see here, because it's an easy fight in a pretty easy spot.
Yep, and both Rybon and Possumorpheus, I mean, they both are using different J items, but other than that, it's get through. Oh, and here's a blue robe. Is it? It's our alt gauntlet.
Back attack alt gauntlet. You love to see it.
I mean, I love to see it, especially when I'm not running a race, when I get to be here in the booth and we get to talk about it.
Yeah. Cub's going for Flame Dog.
It's interesting because trap chests that are relatively easy can have some fantastic gear. Absolutely. So it's, I think this is a worthwhile stop.
Oh yeah, it's... 10 Artemis arrows. Those are not bad. Like, but like I don't know, best arrows as far as I'm concerned. But also, you'd rather not find it from a chest that could have something like way better. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. I mean, you're hoping for, you know, an I mean, there's no adamant armors, but you know, a killer Cecil weapon or you know, something just really, really good. Artie arrows are situationally good, and I think the problem with them is that it's a finite resource. So you kind of just want to hang on to them and hoard them.
Yeah. So we've got a bit of a diagonal thing here going where Cubs and Rex are taking on the Tower of Zot, while Possum and Rybon are doing Thriller on Mount Ordeals. And
that pale dim
Stardust. I was gonna say that Stardust Rod is doing wonders for Rybon on this fight.
Yeah, I think this has to be the alt gauntlet spot with the largest just number of enemies that we end up fighting, because you have a ridiculous setup, like 7 different zombies that you have to get through. So having a sweeping item like a Stardust Rod or an Earth Hammer that you can use to just sweep through just does wonders.
Love that AoE damage.
That AoE damage. To borrow from MMO terms.
Is it an MMO term? I always thought it was just a general...
Just a general gaming term, yeah. I learned it in MMOs, but...
Okay. Oh, well, Bigon's gonna be in the Golbez spot, so I guess he kind of overthrew ranks or something. But hey, conveniently, Rosa is here, and if you keep her, she will learn exit at the end here.
Seems like a good spot. We also have another child, Rydia, joining us. I mean, okay, we have another wielder for a Stardust Rod, but I think we're set right at the moment.
I'm personally a fan of Rydia, but right now I don't think Cubs has the equipment for her, and we have not seen any summons that I am aware of, so yeah, probably best to dump her here. Oh,
Oh, and a Baron Key on Mount Ordeals. That is hard required.
yup. And Sid's taken on the Plague alone, which, I mean, Rybon just,
Blink and you miss it.
yeah. And I'm sure Possum will have the same. Cub's fighting karate to get out of Zot. And we'll see Rex do that momentarily.
Porum just making fantastic work. I think that's already Charm equipped right there, but Zerked up for sure and just melting that karate fight.
Rex swapped his Edward out for Rydia, so that's a different play from Cubs, who has Edward on the floor.
I am torn about that. I mean, Eddie is one of those characters. If you have a spoon, he's fantastic. He can do a lot of damage, but he also kind of has a limited shelf life because if he falls over, the worst damage is a dead damage dealer. So, different
But-
schools of thought with that.
Right now, I think the best weapon they found for him is the Dancing Dagger, which is also good for Rydia, so, anyway, Cub's getting a hook out of that.
I mean, that's potentially our Underworld access at this point in time, but we still have Baron itself to go through entirely. Cubs rule is saying, let's just go ahead and do this right now.
And yeah, so there's Baron Inn and not Baron Inn, Baron Castle. And correct me if I'm wrong, the Baron Basement can't be a required underground access, but it could still be the Magma Key. Now that we know that the hook is somewhere else.
I believe so. That is correct.
So, maybe there's a water hag there.
It's always worth a check, I say, because it's relatively quick if you run down there and then have a save to reset out if it's not something quick.
Yeah.
Cubs is saying, hey, we're just going to go ahead and dive. I am committing myself to this dive right now.
Yeah, but I mean, it comes with checking some good shops. There's looting if you want to still loot at this point. I mean, like, look at coffins, sirens, life. Like, you're set right here. And then you get another character for free. And a peek at what the second boss is, so you can just nope right out of there with that Rydia, or not Rydia, the Rosa that learned exit as soon as you got her. And you can do,
Possum Morpheus has a very rude Golbez that popped up. Now, Possum also did a fantastic job of not only getting his Eddie hidden, but his tela knocked onto the floor so that he can control who the characters are going to be that survive Shadow's visit right now. Because as long as only 2 characters are visible and targetable, Shadow will then turn around and nope right out.
Alright. That's a character.
That's a fantastic character. That's a character that makes me turn right around and go do Mount Ordeals right now.
Yep. Also, Dark Elf is gonna be the second boss, which it can be a mixed bag. It throws out a lot of statuses that can really hinder your party. Again, we've got everybody all over the place. Cub seems determined to just go head on through rather than take Mount Ordeals first. Which, as we know, is required anyway.
I mean, we know it. Cubs doesn't know it, though. So I can understand the logic at play right now, at least in Cubs' rules head. Not going. I mean, it's not going to necessarily pay off, or in a logical way. But I understand what he's trying to do. You know, you're already on this route. Backing out is a time sink. He will eventually have to go up to Mount Ordeals eventually, but he doesn't know that. So I understand the logic of just saying, "Hey, I had a worthless Eddie with me anyway. I might as well just keep going up, keep going."
Yeah. Plus, if you think you can just bum rush through the 2 bosses down here, you've got your underground access, and you can just go right back up to Ordeals. Ordeals is not that far from the little volcano cave thing. I actually don't know what that's called. Mountain? Oh,
yeah,
well,
we'll call it.
that's a free boss right there. So yeah.
So free boss for sure. Possum Morpheus also just found samurai arrows from liberating Baron Castle. So half of our objectives done. We are only looking for, at this point, the Adamant Rock and the Tower Key.
And those could be behind any number of things. We've got 3 items behind the pan. We've got another item behind the Baron Key. And then there's also that twin harp just sitting there, waiting. John Goodman just disappeared on Cubs' screen.
Can I make a prediction right now?
Go for it.
Possum Morpheus will be the very last person to do Twin Harp if it's required.
Alright, I can see this.
I know, that's like saying, you know, the sun will be out at noon or something.
The sun will come out tomorrow.
Alright, so Dark Elf here is interesting. And I believe chat was pointing out that we do have white arrows. Dark Elf against white arrows and a zerked up character with an arty bow will do quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, it throws out those weaks and those pig statuses. It can throw you for a loop. But the good news is its second Paladin looking form does not have the boss bit. Who knows why? Who knows why anything in this game does what it does?
At this point, I just nod and smile and thank the programmers for allowing me to cast Stop on a boss.
I mean, when you make a game this big for a new system, that you have to get out in time for its launch. It's not going to be perfect. All twins learned Meteo. That confused me for a moment on Rex's side, because I guess.
Oh right,
I guess
because his Tella's name
Tella
is
is
Twins.
named Twin. So I was like, but there's like actual twins in this game, and I was like, I can see Hallam having it maybe, but
All right, so Cubs Rule gets through. That was a fantastic Dark Elf fight, by the way. Just kudos to Cubs Rule for really putting on a clinic. Going in relatively low level compared to a lot of characters, and leaving some checks on the overworld unchecked. For example, Mount Ordeals. He's going to be rewarded with being the first person into the Underworld. Now, we don't exactly know what that means, but he has a Cecil. Everyone else's Cecil, I think, at this point in time will get activated and be able to gain levels through that particular area. So once he gets the Cecil online, if he opts to keep that Cecil, we'll be a little bit behind in levels.
yeah, whenever you trade that Dark Knight Cecil for a Paladin Cecil, though, you hit that reset button on him.
That you do. Chat pointing out that I think when you have that early pan, it does kind of force you to want to go underground as quickly as possible so you can route all of that together.
I mean, what I would probably do is go hit Yang with the pan, go back up, visit Sheila, and then do Mount Ordeals if I was Cubs. Maybe stopping by to get the free Fey March chest while you're down here and see what the bosses are. But he is just gonna go straight up the tower.
I did not even see if he peeked to see what that boss was. He had to have, because Keyless Tower is not something you do unless not only you peek the boss, but you're confident that you can get it done.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to his screen when he passed by it, so I did not see what it was, but according to... I saw it in chat somewhere. I forget who he said. Oh, Dishmu. It's some flavor of Mylon up there.
We haven't seen Mylan and Friends, so it's either Mylan Z or Mylan and Friends. Kind of hoping it's Mylan and Friends, because that is considerably faster.
Yep, Cubs. Oh, it's Zed.
Okay, well, this might be interesting.
Yeah, especially with the, still having a Dark Knight Cecil. Although that Porum...
Yeah, Porum.
That Porum is,
oh my gosh.
that Porum's like, I got this.
Porum's like, do you even lift, bruh? Is that meme still good? Is that allowed still?
I mean, I'll allow it, I guess. I don't.
Okay.
I mean, I think we're all using memes from a decade ago, so...
It's an old Nicole General. I was about to clear it. Okay, so Cubs rule is still pushing kind of the boundary here. Oh, that's a rat tail.
Yep. Like everything is telling him go back up. Scala, you didn't have to tell us that this game is 30 years old.
It's okay. It's we all know. This is what makes it a classic.
You know, I learned earlier today that a Goofy movie is 25 years old now, and that kind of hurt my soul. And my mom took me to see that movie when I was a kid, so I had to make her suffer with me on that.
Anyway, uh, hey, we're about to get some music. DJ Spoony B gonna be spitting or spinning or whatever it is, music that is also going to be, anywhere between 20 to 30 years old. Although newly remastered, because that's what we do here in this community. We take the old, put a shiny new coat on it, make it new, make it more enjoyable for all of you to enjoy. Also, true that, Arafis, that Powerline was absolutely amazing from Goofy Movie, and Eye to Eye is on my list.
Sylph gave Cubs a spoon.
So much happened during the music.
We missed a
Oh my
lot
gosh.
during that. Rat Tail was Darkness Crystal, and Cubs retrieved Edward for Spoonward.
And it's just the package. So Twin Harp is a full zonk.
Oof. And we also learned that the Barren Basement is the Nope Rope.
Yeah, that's not anything easy that we want to see at all. Rex Spanner that making the same decision to go. Again, I don't blame him necessarily because it's something that got to check out. But that Darkness Crystal, ooh.
Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man on Cubs' side. Also, I wasn't, I didn't recognize what the music was.
Not at all. It was frantic, and if anyone in chat can help us out with whatever that music was, kudos to you. We'll call you out. Mammon's theme from Quest 64. Okay. My brother played that video game, but the leveling up system was so wonky. Reminded me of Final Fantasy II.
Just run in a circle and you can level up.
There's the Adamant Rock from Sheila 2. So we are a tower key away from Go Mode. And that'll be a fantastic weapon for our hero, Sid. At this point, because the See Hero flag is on. So Sid's ultimate weapon in reach for Cub's rule. Cub decides, hey, I might get a really good axe here that Cecil can also equip if he's turned on. So let's
phrasing.
Oh, sorry. If he's fully activated and is letting his flowing locks of hair down out from under his helmet. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rybon's giving Ogopogo the old college try. Possum has an X-Cal and a crystal sword. I did not see where those came from.
Glass helm, power shirt.
Did I miss something?
Yeah. Eblin traps. Yeah.
Ah.
Okay. Yeah. That's right. He was doing all that during the first music.
Where everything was happening.
When everything was going on, yeah. So, Cubs rule, now finding out, while this is absolutely required, the absolute horror that is this alt gauntlet.
Well, still doesn't know it's required because he has not seen that Baron key yet. It's required if he wants to keep that Cecil.
Well, I mean, the Baron key is required because we have to liberate Baron Castle anyway. So it's our objective 1, which, despite Cub's rule being our first runner into the Underworld, and Possum just now starting to make his way down that way, Cub's rule is also the only one that hasn't completed that particular objective. So in objectives, he's a little bit behind, but certainly has more navigation opportunities in the world.
And Rex went to Mysidia to trade Tella for Yang.
Look, Yang is underrated. I love Yang. I absolutely love him, and he has some great situational uses as a punch mage. The Yang, from the perspective of, flags that we ran in this past week, was just a fantastic set of flags highlighting how awesome he is as well. So I'm on the Yang fan club. So
you ever notice that when you go to Damcien to get the hovercraft, instead of going out the staircase at the top where for the vanilla game you go to launch it, you just go back out the way you came?
Yeah, that always interests me. You gotta wonder where the hovercraft dock is in Damsian. Like, is it like is it just out back? Is it in the detached garage? Do we have like is there a zip line that we have to take to it? And does all of Damsian submerge and only a hovercraft is left as we leave our opponents lying there in the sand?
Also, I just want to point out, like, I'm not saying that as like a criticism of the devs. I'm just saying it because I think it's interesting. Like, I mean, the devs do a great job. That was definitely not me, like, throwing shade on them.
No, I know. I'm 100% with you. It's a question that we may never have the answer to.
Possum Orpheus selecting to fight John Goodman rather than let him disappear on his own. Which, I mean, at this point, he's got a very overpowered Cecil, so why not?
I was gonna say, what level is that particular Cecil? Oh, level 20 with Crystal Sword and Power Robe. Yeah.
Yeah. And Cubs now has his Paladin and Baron key. And Rybon and Rex are both making their way down the hook route as well.
Yep, they will be rewarded with their Cecil. I don't think either Rybon or Rex quite got their Cecil as fully online as Possum Orpheus did with clearing out of the trap chests in Evelyn. Cub's rule, meanwhile, is not forging the sword. He's like, nah, we're gonna save that till the end. Go forge, Cubs, please. I want to know, what axe or hammer do you get?
Is it indeed hammer time? And Rybon traded out his Rydia for Cecil, which, probably the best idea there.
Chat has devolved into every sand meme that has ever existed in nerd culture. I'm so sorry, chat.
I hate sand. It's rough, it's coarse, gets everywhere. Cubs going back to get Rydia instead of Porum.
All right, so now Cubs rule is still not going to turn in that picking up the hovercraft, though, at very least.
I think Cubs' strategy here is to do the opposite of what we want him to do. Because he knows.
Well, it's also possible he has 10 key items at this point. So picking up some more sirens maybe to do a quick grind of some sort while in the underworld. Slingshot Rydia time, possibly.
Possum just whacked Yang and got his spoon and now he's going down to the Fey March. I don't remember Cubs checking the Fey March. Did he? I don't. If he did, I did not see it.
I
There are
don't
like
believe you did.
4
Yeah.
screens here. And there's so many screens that anytime I don't see something, I gaslight myself into thinking I just didn't
Luka-Key.
see it and it happened.
So no, it's a Luka key. It's something that Cubs does not have. So Cubs has not, in fact, checked that.
Well, there is still a possibility of that tower key being in Seal Cave.
So Cubs doing a bit of a grind here to, yeah, Rydia's gonna learn quite a few things right here.
Slingshotting that Rydia with those eggs with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 key items. That's a lot of experience.
Yeah, 20 some odd levels just right there out, or more. It had to be more than 20 levels. 20 levels, yeah.
Like you're asking me to do
28.
math, and that is very much not my thing. I counted to 10 there, and that was a miracle.
Well, the reason why because I just ran a seed before jumping on to do this, where I had a level 1 Rydia, then I cracked 1 egg at like 2 key items, and I still gained 20 levels. So I'm like, it's got to be more than 20 if we're getting slingshot and we have 10 key items. So 28. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Or 2 John Goodmans on my screen. Also, free siren from the egg.
I'll take it.
Fighting a Leviathan on Possum Morpheus' side.
All right. Yep, everyone's so we got grinds or underworld access going on right now. Oh, not grind, but Leviathan. For Bahamut,
Hey, that'd
okay.
be great for Rydia. So I guess Cubs needs to go do Leviathan. And we'll see if Possum wants to fight the Demus or not.
That was another refund on Sirens for
Yeah.
Cubs rule.
Also, I like Cubs' strategy that he's using to fight the eggs. Rosa's going first and then self-berserking to shoot it with an arrow for free, essentially.
Yep, has Rosa. I think
Well,
Cubs has Artie.
It's free if she's only got 1 arrow, but I think. And Rydia is no longer baby. Rydia wants power.
Rydia has all the MP that she needs right now, honestly. Even Cecil is in a weakened state because gained so many levels at this point on Cubs Rules End that down to that threshold.
And Possum getting his goods from Sheila. And Chat has decided to talk about Xenogears. And I choose to blame Xenocat for that. I don't know who started it, but I'm gonna blame Xenocat.
Zeno, I just want you to know I do not blame you at all. I would never blame you for anything. Ever. It's either way. Back on track. This is what happens when we have a race where everyone is running over each other's steps and we have a grind going on. So
yeah, there's a grind. There's a couple things that have happened before. But everyone's making progress. Possum got the twin harp, so if you're right and he saves that for the very last check, then he's in good shape.
yeah, that twin harp will be promptly ignored by Possum.
Tubbs is really going on this grind.
Yeah, this is Cubs is like, I'm going to be done with grinding for the entirety of the seed. So I do not blame him at all.
This is his final party, no matter what.
Meanwhile, Cubs was the first one to be able to do this particular check that Possum is doing to get the treasury, but Possum's doing it instead.
Tubbs' Rydia is doing like 9,800 damage to the egg, which is enough to kill like, I think 4.5-ish eggs.
Many eggs. We have Zeus gauntlets for sale. I mean, Gigantaxes. It's okay. So this is a very strong party that we have right now.
Possum is gonna be our first forge.
It is that Gigantaxe, which is quite strong, I would say, just off the top of my head.
So it is indeed not hammer time.
Rybon even turning in before Cubs rule does. Okay.
I mean, like I said, Cubs' strategy is to do everything the opposite of what we want him to do.
I mean, you're right. You're absolutely right. Plus, Cubs is getting his grind out of the way now. So, is going to save some time later on and blow through a lot of the bosses.
Yeah, just
knowing that he has the Darkness Crystal and no one else does, he's probably going to be going to the moon almost immediately.
Something new. Possum Orpheus is in Dwarf Castle, and the first fight is the Dark Imps. But like, Cubs doing that much damage to the egg in like one arrow is like that Simpsons scene where it's like, stop, he's already dead.
We're gonna make it so that Edward can survive an unnerfed Big Bang. That's the goal.
Oh my, I mean, no one else has done a grind yet, so, you know, they're still gonna have to probably do something about that.
Well, Rydia now has Nuke, so if that's what we were grinding to, we're good.
Yeah, it looks like Cubs is satisfied. And Rybon is contemplating, yeah, he's just gonna leave. And Possum is fighting Baigan, who we knew was going to be in this spot because we've seen the Tower of Zod 4 times already. And this is a pretty low health spot because it's like this perfect fight with Golbez, so he's not going to be much of a threat here, as we can see.
No, he kind of falls over here. Yep, is gonna buy some Star Veils, and then got to imagine resting at this safe point here, and then immediately going in and taking on that D-Mist, I think, which is the one boss that I don't think we've seen defeated yet here in the Underworld.
We haven't seen the Sealed Cave or whoever's in the Super Cannon room, but we can't get into the Super Cannon room right now. Cubs doesn't want anything to do with that either, which, he's missing out on that Bahamut that Leviathan has, but hey. I'm sure he can take it. He did all that grinding.
Oh, absolutely.
I can imagine not wanting to do D-Mist at Leviathan because of just how long of a fight that would be. But like Leviathan at Asura, you got time. But we're seeing double here. For Seal or not. Okay, bye Possum. Okay, he's saving with the door open.
Yeah, at this point, remember, our runners are only really looking for the tower key. It is the only objective that we need to complete. Cubs Rule has the Darkness Crystal, is the only one with the Darkness Crystal at this point in time. I tend to forget where that was.
It was...
Top tower?
No, it was Barren Basement, I think. Was it? No.
It was Keyless Tower, yeah.
It was Keyless Tower. What was Barren Basement? Did Rybon finish off the Ogo? I can't remember. There's too many items. Please eliminate 3.
Our tracker sheep launcher, fantastic, keeping track of everything, even the things that aren't on the tracker. Crystal Ring and Barren Basement. Thank you, sheep.
That's a redundant check there. So we're not gonna see who's lurking in the sealed cave, but I mean, you could walk it out and get the extra dialogue.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be doing that.
That's why I love it when dropping the key in the well is an objective, but the magma key is underground.
All right, so Cubs is now getting his party all equipped and ready to rock. We'll be getting this Gigant axe that I imagine he's going to put on his Cecil, because he just put his one Zeus gauntlets that he just bought on Cecil as well.
Yeah, and he didn't get the X-Cal or Crystal Sword. Okay,
No,
so I'm doing the math. At this point, the tower key either has to be on D-Mist or on the moon, right?
That is correct. We have not seen the rewards from the D-Mist, which I would love to be able to see, and I really thought we were going to see Cubs do that especially after the grind. But at this point, we also have that darkness crystal access, which, given the route that we had to get, do Keyless Tower to get the rat tail, to get the darkness crystal, going up to the moon to then get the tower key, that makes it particularly nasty if it is on the moon.
Yeah, and do you go for the slog of a fight that's gonna be demissed at Leviathan? Or do you go to the moon and do the slog of checking all 6 all 6 items? Although Cubs has not even done Baron yet, so he's gonna do that, and then you will probably check the basement as well.
Yeah, I gotta imagine just doing the demiss check is a shorter time commitment because you kind of want it to be there, in terms of optimally routing it, so you can get it and then immediately do the key right there while you're still in the underworld, instead of going up to the moon, getting it, coming back down to Earth. None of our runners have a pass, so as far as we know, so we're gonna have to go back up to. Oh wait, no, we have Possum, who does have a pass. I guess, presuming that Possum, the one thing that Possum has done that a lot of our runners have not done, I'm presuming in Eblin Castle? Dwarf Castle.
Dwarf Castle. Which, Rybon and Rex are about to get. So they're both on... Oh, Rybon's on Baigan, and Rex had the spooky hand. But, I think we've only actually had one runner fight Leviathan, and I think that was Possum. Unless I'm mistaken. I should take notes on things.
I think I think you're right. Possum, and keep in mind, Possum is a fantastic. I mean, all of these runners are absolutely fantastic runners within our community, but Possum Orpheus is the winner of our most recent community-wide tournament. So he is considered at this point the cream of the crop. So if anyone can do something that a little bit underleveled or maybe a little bit undergeared, I would expect Possum to be able to do it.
Indeed. And I mean, these flags are much more generous than the bracket flags were.
Oh my goodness, yes.
For one, you get all 5 characters. Or character slots. Also, Cecil is here.
A fully equipped Cecil, which is, it just handles like a dream when you're used to trying to take on Zero Mist with like an ice brand.
Rex is doing his egg grind right now. Possum is launching the whale. That is gonna be our first whale launch on screen.
Well, and it makes sense because I think Possum is out of things to do in the Underworld. He's done quite a bit at this point. He's done a bit of a grind, and I think he's ready to go with the equipment that he has and the party that he has. He's comfortable. He'll be going up to the moon and doing things as efficiently as possible. Only looking for one key item, and then you're done.
The Rivet Blast says Cubs launched the whale, but didn't take it anywhere. Oh hey, Cub, I just noticed one of the statues is one of the twins. It's kind of funny when that happens.
Speaking of that Leviathan, Rybon is now on that particular Leviathan fight, although has appeared to do a bit of a grind, so is set up very well there.
Yeah, unfortunately not going to get much use out of that Bahamut reward from it. Because no Rydia. Which, it's funny that Leviathan is not only French vanilla being in the different spot, but also gives out a different summon. Now, there's a twin on the moon.
Too little, too late, Palom. Thanks for showing up way past your expiration date.
It is past your bedtime, young man. Cub's gonna take on that Nope Rope.
Certainly leveled enough for it. So this is interesting because I don't think anyone has actually defeated this particular Ogopogo spot.
I think Rybon did, and it was a Crystal Ring.
Crystal Ring, you're right. You're
We
right.
do have Rybon doing our first D-Mist as well.
With 3 white mages able to cast blinks as you need them to, plus a Cecil that really, if you want to, can cover just about the rest of the party. This should be easy for Rybon here.
Yeah, it's just gonna be a bit of a slog because, as we know, D-Mist fades into mist and you can't hit it, and then it comes back, and it's gonna have a decent amount of HP in this spot, so... But you know what? It's not D-Mist at elements, so...
See, with things like D-Mist at this particular location, I try to think back. The best thing that anyone ever told me about running randomizers, any randomizer, be it Free Enterprise, be it Z3R, be it Super Metroid, whatever it is, it doesn't matter what you do in the race. It's if you do something that's different from your opponents. So yes, you're staring down this D-Mist and it looks like it's going to be a terrible long slog. But if everyone has to do the terrible long slog, it doesn't necessarily matter. You just have to get through it.
Rybon had selected Cecil's attack to attack right after it turned into mist, so I'm not sure if there was a strategy to that or just a misinput.
Might have been a misinput.
Bacchus for sale on the moon.
That'd be nice, especially with the party setup that we have.
Niabari says, probably D-Mist input? I appreciated it.
Meanwhile, Cubs Ruled getting party set up, also launched and is about to do checking cave value first, as opposed to Possum, who dove deeper to get kind of the more condensed locations deep on the moon.
Possum is fighting full leg on the moon, which is not the best fight.
It kind of hurts. It really does.
Looks like Cubs going straight for, all it.
This is interesting because, now between Cubs and Possum, these two are now neck and neck.
So it's funny, we've got full leg and quarter leg. Because Cubs is fighting elements in Cave Bahamut. But will it live up to its nickname of Cave Value and give us that tower key.
Still taking that glare. Always gonna hurt. At this point, it's a race to who has the tower key first. Cubs Rule and Possum are both on the moon. I think we've determined at this point in time it's got to be in one of those two locations. Cubs
Rex.
Rule, the first one to win.
Just an arty bow, which is good, but we've already got our necessary amount. Rex fought at least one trap chest in the tower. Yeah, it looks like Rex and Rybon are both on their way to do Keyless, doing Keyless Tower.
Yep, and as chat pointing out, Cubs Rule just being rewarded with another Artemis bow. We had like 4 ultimate bows of Evil's Bane appear. We're just throwing it on the pile at this point. It's like, here, big Chocobo. Take another one.
Possum has defeated the full leg, so let's see what. Next Cal and an Artemis arrow. Possum already has X-Cal and Crystal.
Here's the nice thing from a Possum Orpheus perspective, and also really from a Cubs Rule perspective. You've already gotten all of your rabbit hole items. Possum hasn't necessarily done the Twin Harp, which, fine, whatever, we know. But you've already done everything that would require an extra check. So you don't have to worry about, the pan randomly showing up, so you have to question whether or not you stay up on the moon or not to keep clearing. You're only looking for the tower key. Any other key item doesn't matter because it's not a rabbit hole that'll lead to anything else.
Possum going for a bold play and berserking on CPU. And we are gonna see some Globe 199, I think.
Yep, Rosa hanging tight says, okay, I'm gonna have to res someone. Hoping.
Res someone. Yeah. Oh. Alright, well, it worked out.
That's one way to do it.
Crystal Sword. It's like, this moon is gonna be great for everyone else because I don't think anyone else got the Crystal Sword.
All right, so Possum has done those two. It is down between the Masa altar or the Crystal Sword altar. One of those two. And here's the problem. Cubs Rule abandoned his top-down. I guess it could also be Mura Altar, because I don't think we checked the Mura Altar either. So, right now, this is the worst-case scenario for Cubs Rule, because all he's doing is following in Possum's footsteps, and it's in one of the places kind of along that path. If Cubs Rule had kept on doing the top-down, like started with Bahamut and then done top-down instead of bottom-up, he might have had a chance, but right now Possum is in kind of a straight line race. Not that this is over by any stretch of the imagination, but it's interesting. Just routing differences is what makes this happen.
So Antlion at what I think was the crystal, or not the Crystal Sword, the Ogopogo spot. with a mostly physical party. Nothing bad can happen. So Cubs got his X-Cal and whatever the other item was. Which is better on Cecil, the X-Cal or the Gigantax? I know Crystal is better than both, but... Oh, it's the Mossal.
Yeah, I think that the Gigantax is technically better for Cecil. However, because Sid can equip the Gigantax, just in terms of overall party damage, you want to spread that out. Just a Stardust Rod on that Masa altar.
So... we're down to 2 spots?
Yeah, Mura and Crystal.
Yeah, Crystal, yeah.
Could it be Mura? I don't know if we've seen Mura or not.
I don't remember seeing Mura.
Okay, like I didn't know if someone saw Mura and then reset out. I didn't think so. I expected Cubs to do that because he did Bahamut, gave value first, but opted not to continue. Everyone survived on Cubs Rules In, so all the experience, and it's a crystal sword. It's hard. You're like, yeah, okay, I'll sit through the fanfare for it because it's a crystal sword.
I mean, it's good for Cubs because he didn't find the crystal sword, so... You know, I don't think he's gonna be too upset.
And also in chat, because someone asked the question, and thank you, chat, for answering, but the Demas second prize, where normally for a lot of community races, we have a no free key item, which means you have to find the D-Mist, and then Rydia's mother in the Village of Mist will give you a key item. However, when the free key item is turned on, that item is moved from Rydia's mother over to Edward in Troya, which is the free key item you can get right at the start of the game. So always worth checking that particular flag, because we're seeing more and more frequently that the key item is turned on, and it and allow runners to have a little bit more flexibility with their early game.
So 3 of our featured runners are on the moon, while Rex is still on Earth. Got his Bahamut orb from the Leviathan. And a pink tail for Possum at fighting Valvalis, which Rybon is on, so... Hey, we know where the tower key is.
It's at Mura. And this is the interesting thing, because Possum skipped a few things on the Earth. Absolutely. He skipped Twin Harp, and I think he skipped D-Mist as well. So now he's like, oh god.
Yeah, I think most of our runners skipped D-Mist. I think we had 1 D-Mist fight, unless I'm mistaken. Yeah, Rex is fighting it now. Neobari predicting this will be Water Hag just to be insulting. I think Water Hag's gotta be in the super cannon room. Just to prolong that fight.
Oh my goodness. That's insulting. I mean, it could be at this point. Kenyatso at this spot is not bad, although you do have to be careful. This first wave can do a lot of damage. The Kenyatso wave does damage based on the total HP of the character, or how much HP is remaining. If you can do enough damage, it'll reduce the overall. Forum took quite a bit there, but
it's based on Kenatsu's HP.
Yeah, Kenyatta's, as opposed to like the Leviathan and Ogopogo big waves, which are based on the HP of the party.
Yeah, Possum's got plenty of power, and then Kenyatta's in a shell now, so it's just a matter of time. And there we go. We're gonna see that tower key, unless something is broken.
Possum's hoping to see the tower key. We see the tower key. Possum is
Possum's
very
in go.
happy.
Possum's in go mode.
He is in go mode. He is exiting. He's very happy. He gets to dodge the twin harp again. Yes, this particular seed, this particular time tells us that the four fiends of the elements are Rubicant, Vivales, Kenyatso, and Demist, actually.
Is that from the after years?
No, not at all. It was just the four bosses that were on the screen at the same time this time.
Well, Rex is making good use of that Bahamut orb he got. Quad 9 on Demist.
Meanwhile, Cubsrule has, by process of elimination, found out exactly where he needs to go. Possum currently in the lead on the restream at 1 hour 23 minutes. This has been a long seed for our runners. Just about 17-17, checking everything.
I was right. It's
Commentator's
Water
curse.
It's Water Hag, so it's scripted. So it takes longer than just one-shotting the, like, 800 HP this slot has.
Dijon, I'm happy to pass my commentator witchiness hat off to you for calling this.
I must use this power only to annoy.
Perfect. That's what it's designed to do. That's right. Neobari, our restreamer, pointing out that Cubsrule does not have the pass. That pass, which was located somewhere, one of the bosses that was stated.
Dwarf Castle, I believe.
Dwarf, right.
So, I'm pretty sure this walking out key item has to be the Sand Ruby, because, I mean, we know where Magma and Package are, and there's not any other X left to do.
It's true. Yeah, it can't even be an extra item.
Also, I don't think we've seen a single cursed ring on anyone's screen. So you can't use that to slow down your forced anchor if you wanted to. Yep, there's Sand Ruby.
Yeah, with the power that you have at this point, I think Possum did not have to do any grind or had a very minimal grind. This is power overwhelming at this point. You know, you are less concerned about levels. Yeah.
I mean, when you fight the entire moon.
Your Rosa has almost 2,500 HP. You're good. Meanwhile, there's some Z flags popping up. in the chat. I wonder what this could mean. What's chat? What are you trying to tell us? That it's bedtime?
No, it's only 8:27 here. Bees. Like
Bees.
that's the sound that bees make.
Oh
They're
no, bees!
I'm allergic to them.
Oh no, I'm sorry. We'll talk later about that. Anyway, what those Z's actually mean is the question, because this is a randomizer community, and we like to randomize as many things as we can. We did the harp song earlier. We also would love to randomize Zeromus, our end game boss. However, his mechanics are just a little bit too complex to mix the final boss in with the rest of the boss pool. So what the community has decided to do is change Zeromus's final form, his true colors, as they are revealed when you use the crystal. Those final colors are randomized into one of 500, almost 600 plus different possible sprites that are curated by our wonderful community admin, Scala Kitty, who is in chat. So thank you, Scala. So the question always becomes with the Z flag, whose butt are we gonna kick tonight?
Does it have a butt?
Is the butt cute?
Is the butt wearing a hat? Did the butt pay its taxes on time, or is it under investigation by the IRS?
This is the deep butt lore that I didn't know I needed. The butt is being investigated for a tax dodging scheme.
All right. Oh.
Green miss. Okay.
All right. I'm leaving. Bye.
Hey, I'm familiar with this game.
Yeah, I know this guy. This is Bill.
Everyone say hi, Bill. We're getting ready to banish Zeromus to the Shadow Realm.
Ah, the Shadow Realm. I guess this kind of is a Shadow Realm, if you think about it.
I mean, people in chat are pointing out this card is banned in... I'll say this, it's banned in tournament play. Does this look like a tournament? Nuh-uh. This is just a funsy community race.
So, we now have one card out of, like, 50 that we need to complete the final 6 bosses in Forbidden Memories.
We're trying to spin too much of a narrative around this particular Z sprite.
I mean, we could see Cubs having to make that walk because he did not get the pass.
Yep, it's the walk of shame, as some community members like to call it. There's no shame to it. I mean, at this point, Cubs can probably statistically know exactly where that is. And he just knows that it's less time to actually walk this route. So ultimately, it probably ended up saving him time not doing that compared to what everyone else who did go through the Dwarf Castle.
And we're down. Pot of Greed is down on Pot's side. So GG's. Looks like he has finished second with a time of 1 hour, 31 minutes, and 32 seconds.
GG to Possum. Who got first in the community race, out of curiosity, if you happen to be in the room?
I am actually not in the room.
No. Okay.
I forget to do that for these because I mostly do the tournament.
Oh, chat calling out Antidale was first with another fantastic runner in our community, so
Then
that makes sense.
GG to Antidale. Does anyone know what Antidale's time was?
127.11. Meanwhile, Possum Orpheus at 131.32. Joining us now, GG's Possum.
GG.
GG's, thank you for the GG's, y'all. And GG's to Anti off stream. Very well done.
Well, I mean, walk me through this. It ended up being a bit of a slog. It ended up being, I think, close to, if not a full 17-17 at this particular junction. You managed to dodge Twin Harp, so golf clap to you there, sir.
Fade Harp. The Harp cartel shall never be successful or victorious in this lifetime or any other. But walking through everything, so early game was pretty easy with Evelyn giving out Artemis Bow, and then there was another Artemis Bow somewhere. So Sid and Porum got to go blow up the world. Not really much to write home about, I guess, about that overworld. Before diving the hook route, I wanted to get Blink on Rosa because I wasn't sure what was awaiting me there, and with kind of awkward agility with Sid, I wasn't sure how many sources of Blink I would need, so I grinded up Rosa to Blink on the 3 Evelyn trap chests, and then Cecil showed up to be the wielder of the Holy Swords I found, which was unbelievably convenient. And then the seed just kind of played itself from there, where Cecil just went bird. So it just was, if I go top down on the moon instead of bottom up, probably get first place, or really, really close to it. But, made the decision to go bottom up, follow the density of key items. Just didn't work out, but certainly had all my levels by then.
Absolutely. And really, truth be told, that decision to level up in Evelyn Castle, which is not something any of your other fellow runners, at least on the stream, decided to do. So your Cecil was online and doing work long before a lot of other folks on the restream. So that, Crystal Sword Cecil just is so powerful and so good, especially when you pair him with a relatively early access for that Gigant Axe for Sid, doing all sorts of terrible, terrible things to this seed.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, like, the Crystal Sword helps for all of 2 fights? And then I think you end up getting the Gigant Axe from either turning in the pan or the Feymark freebie or something. But, like, the Forge was on the table almost immediately after getting underground, so Cecil with a Gigant Axe is basically the same as Cecil with a Holy Sword. It only really impacts like late game, like the last couple fights, the Z fight obviously. But even then, like I picked up at least another Crystal Sword along the way, and I think another Excal, and so like it. I think the impact of a Crystal Sword on this seed was a lot less than most because of how early the Gigant Axe access was. Kind of a weird one in that regard, that it wasn't the normal payout you'd expect, and in fact it actually cost me time, possibly because I ended up going and doing the Leviathan fight, which there's no way in heck I'd have done that without the Crystal Sword. So it's tough to say, really, but I don't think it actually gained all that much time, other than maybe the Dark Elf fight itself, because it was like 4 hits and it dies.
So you said something a little bit earlier, and I think it's an interesting point that makes sense to longtime runners within the community, but I think I want to ask you to go into it in a little bit deeper. You said that once you got into the underground, the seed just kind of played itself. Can you walk me through what that feeling is like and how you can tell when a seed plays itself? Maybe for some other folks, I've seen a lot of new names in the chat actually today. Just kind of walk me through what that feels like, what that looks like, and how you roll with that.
Yeah, well, so as far as that's concerned, like you're wanting to simply prioritize whatever the most efficient play is at any given time. And so when I say the seed plays itself, it's basically a situation where you try not to double dip anything. So get underground, do the pan turn in, hit the Fey March freebie, see what bosses are there. If I can take both of them, take both of them. If I can't, see what I can take and maybe just make that a last location. In this case, it was Demas that was the last location at Leviathan because ain't nobody got time for that. So it was one of those things where you just route the pan bonk, you go to the Fey March, get the freebie, you get your one boss you can take out. Then instead of, going and doing like Dwarf Castle right away or something like that, go take out your pan turn-ins, and clean up any quick checks you might get from that. Things like, a rat tail, which would be a quick check. The tower key, which would be go mode. Even the Luca key is a quicker check than everything else at that point. So like Dwarf Castle, Luca, and then tower key, you want to route and then keyless tower, you want to route those in as well, all in one fell swoop. So you just have to decide, like, do you want to focus on underground or overworld? Being part of the Fade Harp gang, I wasn't about to go do that, which also meant Baron Basement was off the table unless that was exactly darkness. And I would have ended up last locationing that. So just one of those things where the seed kind of guides you if you're playing for efficiency. But it's difficult with a one key item hunt like we kind of were in this case. So that's kind of what, to me, like the seed playing itself means.
No, fantastic. Thank you for that. And I hope that helped kind of explain some of that for some of our newer runners or newer members who are just checking out this particular free enterprise, randomizer that we have. And for those newbies that are in chat, if you haven't already joined us, please join us over on our Discord, where you can ask any of these questions and join the community and hang out and get to bug the rest of us by asking any sort of questions, because it's not a bother at all. We'll be happy to answer any of those questions. I guess final thoughts, Possum. How's your kind of off season going? There's all these different community clubs and races. This is the most active I can remember it being, kind of in our off season, as I recall.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the club season goes, I've been doing a fair bit of clubs. What I can squeeze in. I've tried to make most of the community races. Some of the Hero's Journey on Saturdays, which is run by Alchemy. Some of the From the Perspective of, which is run by Firebird Lover, which is on Sundays. Some of the Eblin Spelunking Club, which is Falcon Percent, which is on Tuesdays. Thursday is Pink Puff League, so obviously can't partake in that, but can help design flag sets and give my input and, help to try to teach the Puffs what to do, what not to do. And hopefully learn them a thing or two. And I forget what is on Wednesdays, because obviously I've done a very poor job of playing whatever that one is. But I've done tried to stay very busy, try to keep the skills sharp, throw the ladder in there, and then also flag set testing for the new upcoming ZZ5 flags. Whenever we make a decision on those, just trying to iron out kinks and do what I can to help make that one a banger. So been very busy for the club season for me, but just trying to do my part.
Well, excellent. Right. That's all the questions I had. Catch up, did you have anything?
I think everything has been covered from cover to cover here.
Cool. Well, thank you both for doing comms. I appreciate it. Vitasia and Dijon Ketchup, y'all are both amazing. I look forward to finding some time to watch this back. GG's to Neobari for rolling this. Sheep Launcher, I believe, for doing the tracking. And I hope everyone enjoyed the coffins in the Z fight. Having already seen Antidale finish, again, GG's to Anti. I figured I'd throw in some memes there. So everyone have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.
Awesome. GG's to Possum Orpheus. Number 2 in the community, number 1 on Restream. Meanwhile, as we finish up, both Cubs Rule and Rybon finished number 3 and number 4 in the community race at 1:35.18 and 1:38.14.
And Rex is not far from finishing himself.
Yep, and here is Cubs Rule joining us. GG's Cubs.
GG. Thank you.
I gotta say, you drove me crazy watching this seed. You were the first person to have everything needed to turn in for forging the sword, but the last one to actually turn it in on the restream.
Sounds about right. I just figured I'd grind first, and then, because Ordeals was 10 key items, so I just figured I'd grind, get the levels, and then I still hadn't been to Fame-Art, so I just wanted to check the freebie, and then just ended up following that chain down, so it is what it is.
No, absolutely understandable, and we talked about it, and it made logical sense, like, as you were going through it. Certainly, and you got that grind. It felt like you were grinding up. It looked like to nuke levels, but you couldn't just deplete all your sirens, because you got not just 1 but 2 refunds on the sirens during your grind there. I thought that was fun.
I was laughing as I got those refunds. I'm like, well, I guess I didn't need to make that trip back for a few extra. I had 11, and I went and bought just a couple more. I suppose I didn't need to do that in the end.
I mean, I don't know if you can count on getting a couple refunds ever. That's supposed to be a pretty statistically small chance there.
Yeah. No, I was debating the whole way. Once I finished K Bahamut, I was going back and forth the whole time on top down versus bottom up, and I mean that without a pass, I guess maybe you do top down first just to try and keep from dealing with walking down, but I can't be too upset with that decision. I found a couple swords for Cecil. I was like, where were these the whole seed?
Well, and I'll tell you, those where those were, they were in Eblin Castle, the entire seed. Possum actually got those pretty early on and had already done Ordeal, so his Cecil, even at level 1, was fully equipped with Crystal Sword on his way down into the Underworld. So that probably contributed a little bit of that time difference between the two of you there.
Yeah, Artie, Porum was doing work with the Artie and the Power Shirt, so the Vanilla King Queen is always a chuckle, and then Dark Elf just doesn't like Artie.
No, you're absolutely right. It was absolutely a pleasure, because you I think got through that seed in, I'm not necessarily an unconventional way, but not with like the standard power that you expected. Like, you don't expect to see a Porum swing in for 2.7k every turn.
Not in the slightest, no.
But overall, kind of walk me through your thoughts on this particular flag seed. It intended really to highlight Sid and kind of his story highlights throughout the particular, as you were going through everything. But Sid seemed to play a back row. I mean, you even equipped his forge weapon on Cecil for most of the race.
I was planning on trying to Zerklich the Giganax until the Crystal Sword showed up. So there wasn't really much for Sid to do. Porum was handling most of it. I did chuckle that I got the spoon immediately after kicking Edward. So it's like, well, let's go pick him back up. There was plenty of power to be had outside of the traditional the guy with the sword.
Yeah, it was a lot of a lot of let's say interesting party possibilities in this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, just for your knowledge, I'm sure you've probably already deduced because it was kind of one of those 17 to 17 seeds, but the pass ended up being in Dwarf Castle.
Of course it was.
Which, we were talking about it and like, okay, well, it feels bad when everyone else has done Dwarf Castle and you're the one walking back, but at the same time, you got to dodge Dwarf Castle. And that by itself is probably a time sink that's worth more than a walk into the Underworld, into the moon subterrane anyway. So probably a wash there.
After Baron, since I'd already done the grind, I figured I had to put the levels to use. So I was had it not been on the moon, it was going to be Dwarf and Feymarch before Magnus, but there wasn't really a thought to go to Dwarf until after Moon.
No, and that makes perfect sense. So, and by then you're like, oh, well, you're in the moon and you're in go mode, so it doesn't necessarily matter. And pass, like we said, and I think we discussed it on the restream. At that point, pass was more mitigation of the time spent doing dwarf than anything. So, ultimately, doesn't necessarily make that big of a difference in the end time. But any other final thoughts on this seed or the community club season as we're continue to roll through here?
No, it's I really am enjoying the vast array of clubs that have popped up this between these tournaments. Really always something to do. I'm very happy with what has transpired the last couple months. But with that, just let me say thank you to both you, Vitasia, and Dijon for the commentary on this one. Neobari, excellent seed. Thank you very much. Sheep Launcher, thank you for the tracking. GG all. That was a good race. I really like that one.
Yeah, GG.
Yeah,
thank
GG
you.
to you once again to Cubs Rule. And I think we are joined once more by Rex Banner, the man, the myth, the legend himself. GG's, Rex.
GG's, folks. Thank you. How you doing?
Doing all right. So that one was kind of a nail biter, huh?
A little bit. Right at the end there, you got a little worried about Cecil, but he just had to live through that last Meteo. A little disappointed I didn't get my math right and counted an extra hit early.
Yeah, like we saw that you went out of the way to get that kamikaze because you were like, community race, let's do fun things. And then we thought you were gonna wipe toward the end, and you didn't get. You made it, but you didn't get the kamikaze. So, what we're saying is go back and do it again.
I thought about it. If Cecil would have wiped, I would have never not been too terribly sad.
But I mean, this is we've had a lot of different race streams, and this is the first community race that I can remember, at least for a week or two. I might have been out of it, but it's been a while since we've seen a 17 to 17 kind of pop up in one of these community races. But everyone seemed to handle it very well, especially our restream. You ended up 5th overall in the community race, which is a pretty good placing overall. Just last on the restream, so we had all of our top performers on the restream here.
Yeah, we had a really good group. When I seen the selected group, I knew it'd be tough to get into above third even. Fourth is sort of where I put myself on it, but I always try to see if I could do better than that. But no, it was a good team of good group of the folks for on the restream. We've all played before, so it's a group I enjoy playing with. In fact, like the whole free enterprise community is a great group to do this kind of stuff with.
Yeah, it's a great community.
Any kind of overarching thoughts, Rex, about this community club season? I've been asking all of our runners. It feels like that this between tournament season, with all the different community clubs we have popping up, feels busier than I think we've ever been during the off season here in the free enterprise community.
It does. Like, even the ladder has been like, it has its busy times, its slow times, but it feels like it's busy. There's always something if folks want to do anything. There's so many different options right now. It's rather nice.
Absolutely. So, while we have you here, any kind of final thoughts on the seed or everything as a whole?
Disappointed. Twin Harp was not required. That was my prediction before the race, and it definitely was not required with that package. Other than that, the seed was great. I just really want to say thank you to the folks all putting on the restream, to Vitasia and Dijon for the commentary, Neo Byre for the restream. I missed who was keeping buttons away from Possum, but they did too good of a job. They should have at least let him have 3 or 4. Slow him down a little bit.
Possum was too busy playing to take any of the buttons.
Yeah, well, they should have fed him a couple more just to slow him down a little bit. But thanks to all of you folks putting on. Thanks to the community for always showing up and supporting these things. And to all the folks down south of me in the States, happy 4th of July.
Well, we appreciate that, Rex. GG's to you. To you, a proud member of what Possum would call the Heart Mafia, or the Music Mafia, or whatever his wonderful little nickname is for us. But GG's to you as well, sir.
All right, thank you. You folks have yourselves a good evening.
You too.
Once again, a big shout out to all of our featured runners here on the restream: Possum Morpheus, Cubs Rule 21, Rybon, and Rex Banner. And then another shout out to everyone behind the scenes: Neobari for the restream, and Sheep Launcher for keeping track of the buttons. Thank you all so much. And then, of course, my wonderful co-commentator, Dijon Ketchup. Always a pleasure working with you. Thank you again for letting me hop on here at the last second.
Yeah, totally. And, thank you for, jumping in on the mic as well.
One last shout out, of course, like I said, please join us over on the Discord if you haven't already, at the Free Enterprise Discord. We will be rating S Grunt, another member of our community. So heads up, he is running the Seed of the Week, which is an async race that is hosted weekly on our Discord server. If you are wanting to run the Seed of the Week or have not yet completed it, jump. Do not spoil it for yourself. And do not spoil this race for S Grunt either. He likes to go back through and watch these as well. So thank you from all of us here at the Free Enterprise community. We will see you at the next race. Have a great rest of your evening.
See y'all later. Alligator.